Peace and many blessings, and welcome back to the Mystical Rebel channel here on YouTube. I am your host, the Mystical Rebel, aka Joe the Mystic, and today is our first video in the video series on spiritual warfare and psychic self-defense. Today we are going to be going over shielding and warding. So let's get right into it. I'm very excited. I'm not sure if it's going to be a long video. I do have a couple of, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points here that we're going to hit on today under shielding and warding. So I don't know how long this will be. Maybe 20-ish minutes or so. At least I'm hoping to get around there, but we'll see. It may end up being a quick video if I can get this out pretty succinctly, but some of these things may require a bit more of a nuanced explanation. So, but yes, let's go ahead and get right into it. So shielding and warding. This is not something that I find a lot in the New Age. It's talked about quite a bit within the occult, of course. We are always talking about protecting yourself, especially when you're working with spirits and things like that. But protection is a pretty important thing, whether you're an occultist or a light worker. Whether you're a light worker who's out in, the ether doing grid work, or, removing, alien implants or parasites from people, or you're a light worker who just simply is raising your own vibration, maybe the vibration of your friends, increasing your own frequencies and helping others wake up in your own way. But protection is very important. So the first thing that we're going to talk about is something that I've already mentioned before, but that is your 12D shield, or your 12th dimensional shield. So this is a shield that usually starts in the chakras and it works its way out. So most meditations or visualizations or sort of rites that activate the 12D shield usually start at the crown chakra and work its way down through the sacral chakra out into the earth, and you sort of anchor yourself first. Anchoring is a popular technique. It's actually, if we get to the 7th point here, which is an actual a protection rite, not a full-blown ritual, but it is a rite that I'm going to give to you guys. Anchoring is used in that. So you normally anchor yourself when you're activating your 12D shield, and you start to absorb the energies of the earth. Usually that's what you're absorbing. I really don't know of any other 12D shield activation technique where you're absorbing anything other than the earth's energy. So you anchor yourself to the earth, and then you start to absorb the earthen energies, and then that energy starts to go up through your chakras all the way up to the crown, and then it's supposed to come out of your crown and make a Merkaba star above your head, and then that Merkaba star is supposed to spin, and then you're supposed to reach out to I believe the Federation of Light, and you're supposed to, and then that's supposed to sort of like activate it, and then you're supposed to do whatever it is that you feel the need to do to shield yourself. For me, I usually picture or sort of like imagine a sort of like a silver wall coming around me, but actually walls, like one wall here, one wall here. So 4 walls are appearing around me. And they're usually silver. That's the color that I usually pick to activate my 12D shield. That is a pretty powerful technique, but it is not the most powerful technique. It's powerful to keep out negative energies, negative influences as you go about your day. If you got some errands to run out that day, it'll keep just the run-of-the-mill negativity from affecting you, is what your 12D shield does. It really doesn't, it keeps off lesser parasites and things like that, like if you're doing magical work or if you're out on the astral plane, or especially for the necromancers out there. For those of you who deal with necromancy, I know I'm getting a little morbid here, I do apologize, but as an actual occultist, as an actual witch, as an actual magician, someone who practices necromancy, I wouldn't consider myself a necromancer, but I see a connection here, so I'm going to mention it. When you're out in the graveyards and you're getting the graveyard dirt, or you're getting permission from the gatekeepers and things like that to work within that graveyard, you understand the death essence, and you understand that there are parasites within graveyards and I mean spiritual parasites, not like actual viruses and bugs and things like that. but there are, spiritual parasites, astral parasites that can attach themselves to you that sort of reek of the death essence. And the 12D shield is great for sort of keeping those little things off of you. But the more focused things, you are going to need um, a bit more armor, behind you. So while the 12D shield is a great technique, and I recommend it for everyone, it's great for a daily thing to do every single day. When you wake up, salute the sun, greet the day, honor your ancestors. Get your white sheet out and get your glass of water, ring your bell, and tap on the glass and honor your ancestors. But also activate your 12D shield. Get that thing activated first thing in the morning. I would go with that. So that's 12D shield. It's pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. So I think that's pretty succinct in that, and I think that we can move on to the next thing here. There's no real order here. I know I said that there's 7 things. There's no real order that I'm going to go in, so I'm going to skip the next one for now, and I'm going to come back to it, and we're going to move right on to crystal setups. So crystals, everyone knows crystals in the New Age. If you're in the New Age and you don't know crystals, then are you even really in the New Age? I mean, everyone knows crystals in the New Age. But the issue with crystals in the New Age is that the New Age makes it seem like crystals are all you need. I mean, grab your crystal and that's it. You don't need anything else. And that's not so much the full scope of the truth here. Crystals can be really powerful. Crystals can be really useful, but crystals are mainly used for, well, overall it's one purpose, but really you can break that one big purpose down into 2 purposes. So crystals are mainly used as batteries. They're storehouses of energy. So you can use them to store energy, which is what the main usage is. They contain a crap ton of energy, and it's very rare that they run out. I mean, unless you have a little teeny tiny thing. But even the little teeny tiny crystals have they're storehouses. But depending on what you're using it for. So excuse me, they're great for storing energy, but they're also great at amplifying energy. So when you meditate with certain crystals and certain stones, certain things can help activate your third eye, or certain things can help stimulate psychic awareness and psychic development, things like that. What that means is that it amplifies the energies that already exist within you to do psychic things. That stone helps amplify them to make it easier for you to awaken it. So whereas without that stone, let's say it was going to take you 6 months to open your third eye, meditating daily with that stone and doing a third eye a meditation could have you doing it in 4 months or 3 months, something like that. Crystals are great for amplifying energy, and that could be any energy, especially protective energy. So one thing that I like to do, I don't use crystals a lot in my work at all. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't use crystals a lot at all. Again, mainly because I'm an actual occultist, and the deeper you go within the occult, the less crystals are used. They're more of a supplementary type of a tool, not a main tool at all. And the deeper you go, you find that people tend to not even really use crystals. They're like passive tools. For example, I know people who might attach a crystal to their staff or to their wand that they might use within magic. So the crystal itself is really just there to amplify the directing of the energies. Not really the main focal tool. The tool is the energy, or the tool is the staff that energy is going through. The crystal is there to amplify. But one thing that I do like to do in my practice with crystals is I like to set them up around the house in certain geometric patterns. And so if you were looking, so I'll strategically place them around the house. And if you have a good good visualization skills, if you can picture the house from above and you're looking down, the idea is that the arrangement that I have them laid out in would make a pentagram, or would make a unicursal hexagram, or something along those lines. It would make some sort of a protective symbol or sigil. Not really a sigil. Those are pretty elaborate and aren't really made with points, depending on the method that you use. Some methods, like the Rose Cross method, do use points. or like the witch's wheel and stuff like that use points. But there are other methods that don't use points. That is something that I like to do with crystal setups. I know one thing that you can do is a lot of people like to sit in a circle of crystals, and they'll sit within the circle and they'll meditate within that circle, and they'll amplify the protective energies. One thing, if you are extremely good at energy manipulation, what you can do is you can sit in your circle of crystals, and it doesn't have to be an entire circle of crystals. You can have, one crystal at each at each of the four corners, north, south, east, and west, and you can visualize and imagine and feel the energies between each crystal connecting each crystal, right? It would be a little better if you did a full-blown ritual to actually activate it, but you don't need to do that. You can simply go ahead, and if you know how to do it yourself, you can activate those crystals, and the energies will connect, and then so it will create its own energetic perimeter around you. And what you can do is, while you're sitting in there, you can get into your trance state however you do that, through meditation or ritual drumming, ritual chanting, vibrating sacred names. I know several witches who are members of the ATRs and the ADRs that closely resemble or that loosely use saints and sort of Catholic imagery. They like to hold rosary beads, and they'll do a mantra for each bead, and that is a great way to fall into a trance, because your mind is just saying the same thing over and over again while clicking, or not clicking, but counting these beads, and usually by the 50th or the 60th one, you're getting into that trance-like state. So however you do it, get into the trance state, and then once you're in that trance state, don't imagine anything. Here's where magic happens. Okay, because a lot of the beginner books and things say, oh, imagine and see this and picture this, but it's not just about picturing. The thing about magic is making it real, and part of making it real is the feeling, the emotion. Some books say to act as if you already have, the thing that you're casting the spell for, but how do you exactly do that? How do you act like you have the thing that you, well, one way that you can do it is you have to feel what would it feel like if you really had that thing, or you really were working at that job, or whatever. Feel it. So in this case, you want to not just picture the energies that are forming this circle here. You want to feel those energies. You want to feel that static electricity. That's usually how energy, when it comes to crystals, and the energies are passing, but it feels like static electricity. That's the only way that I can explain it. You want to be able to feel that. You want to be able to feel that surge. And once you can feel it, you want to be able to expand your awareness, expand your consciousness to it, and take hold of it. Now, however you do that is however you do that. The way that I do it, the words or the phrase take hold is a little misleading. I don't take hold. What I do is I would expand my awareness into and get to the perimeter, and just let the energies start to flow through my awareness and become part of my awareness. And now I am one with these energies. These energies are one with me. So if I expand my awareness, the energy should follow as well. So I didn't really grab onto anything. I just merged sort of with it. So I would then begin to further expand my awareness to cover my entire room, if I'm sharing a place with someone, or my entire home, like in my case, the entire house here, or if you have an apartment, your entire apartment, or I don't know, condo, townhouse, whatever you've got, to cover the entire space. Force your awareness out and cover the entire property, or whatever it is that you're working in. And if you're outside working, say that you're lucky enough to, which is something I wish I had, you are lucky enough to have a forest temple. You live near woods, or you have your house backs up to woods or something like that, and you can go back there and it's pretty secluded, and you have a whole altar set up back there. Kudos to you, because I wish I had that. And you want to protect that. There are other things that you can do as well, but that would be, that's something that you can do to protect that area, to keep out unwanted energies and animals and things from getting in there and messing up your ritual space and things like that. So that is a good ritual that I just gave you guys with the setup I just blanked out. The crystal circles, and they're set up in the four quadrants. You once you have the crystals activated, you want to sort of get into the trance-like state, and then you want to get your awareness out, or get your your consciousness, whatever you want to call it, focus it out and into however you want to do it. Take hold of the energies of the crystal circle, and then once you have hold of those energies, you want to then take those protective crystalline energies and force it out to cover your room or your home or your workplace. If you I mean, I know some people might work in warehouses and things like that, and it might be just be them and one other guy on the other side of the warehouse, and some people might do magic at work, and in their own office or whatever. If you want to protect your office space, if you just started, if you just opened a new business, a store, a deli, whatever, a law firm, an accounting office, whatever, and you want to protect it, this is a great way to do that without having to hang things, like witch bottles. That was actually the one that I skipped, was witch bottles. Without having to hang those things around, and then you have clients come in who might not be keen to paganism. They might be Christian or Muslim or Jewish, or even not even they just might not even be pagan, or even want to deal. I'm here to talk to you about my accounting issues, not I don't want to see your fairy dust on the wall or something like that. I get it. It's a place of business. People don't want to get into all that. So that's a great technique that you can use to certainly protect your place of business or home or a temple or anything like that. So let's circle back. Let's talk about the witch bottles. I mean, I already, mentioned it. So let's talk about the witch bottles. So witch bottles, I don't use them. I don't think I've ever used witch bottles. They're good for protection, but I don't see them as protective. How do I explain this? I mean, because I guess at the end of the day, they do protect, but I don't see them as protective. I see them as preventative. So, I mean, I'm sure there are witches out there who can create a witch bottle to do multiple things, but in the cases that I've seen them used for, they're used to trap spirits. And not, spirits that you're trying to actually communicate with or, evoke or anything like that, but spirits that happen to be causing issues. If you feel like your home might be haunted, or you feel like there might be like a negative energy from the previous owners that lived there, and you've tried the sage and you've tried the banishings and things like that, and those work 90% of the time. Excuse me, but sometimes they don't work. So when the times that they don't work, you might need to ramp up some things. And oh, wait a second, there's a spider, guys. I gotta go get that because it's going under my desk, and that's my workspace, and I can't let it get under the desk. So I'm gonna get that spider. I'll be right back. All right, sorry, spider. Okay, so I'll just leave him there, and because I have to leave, and because I don't have any napkins in here or anything. Actually, I do. Okay, sorry. I know this is a little weird. Let me get this napkin right here and get this guy off the carpet. Ugh. All right. Okay, apologies. I could edit that out. And just do a little editing thing like you see a lot of people do on YouTube, but I'm not going to do that. Witch bottles. Okay, so they are more, in my opinion, they're more preventative because they're supposed to capture spirits. The purpose of a witch bottle is if you feel as though there are negative entities in your home or place of business, or just in an area, and you want to stop that, you can set up witch bottles, and you're supposed to fill them with things that are supposed to attract spirits. And unless you know the kind of spirit that you're trying to attract, generally you fill them with just general spirit attracting things. So it's not supposed to necessarily attract a fairy or a gnome or elemental spirit or a demon or an angel. There's elements to attract all kinds of spirits in there, and usually the spirits do get attracted, and then they get trapped in the bottle, and then you can either keep them in the bottle and just hang the bottle around as like a warning to other spirits and just keep it hanging there, or you can then take it somewhere and release the spirit, or you can then use that spirit in other workings. Of course, that's deeper and deeper into the occult. That's not anything that a lot of or that most of you watching this would do. But if you are a competent practitioner of the occult, one thing that you can do is you can certainly take the spirit out of the witch bottle. You wouldn't keep it in the witch bottle at all. You would take it out of the witch bottle through magic, not take it out of the witch bottle. You would then transfer it from the witch bottle to a spirit vessel, like a fetish item, and seat it within the item, and then you would have sort of a slave, if you will, or it could be a working relationship. So those are witch bottles. You can certainly set them up, but from what I understand of witch bottles, since I don't use them, but they're mainly used for spirit traps. So yes, protection, but I mean, I'm sure you can rework a spirit bottle to be a protective thing, to capture negative energies as just a whole, not just spirits. But for the most part, it's a spirit thing. It's to trap negative entities and spirits and send them on their way. So okay, so we're at 21 minutes here, so not a quick video. So we've gotten through 12D shield, witch bottles, crystal setups. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. This should have been at the beginning. I'm so sorry, guys. This, like I told you, I'm gonna get better as more videos come out. I'm gonna get so much better. But the difference between shielding and warding, this should have been the first thing. I don't know why this is. So in my practice, there's a stark difference between shielding and warding. Shielding is for living things. So you shield yourself, you shield your loved ones, you shield your coworkers, and you shield your pets. Shielding is for living things, in my opinion. Not to say that you can't interchange these words, but the way that I use it, shielding is for living things. Warding is for inanimate things. So you ward your home, you ward your temple, even though, of course, depending on who you talk to and the kind of magic they practice, some people may call their temple or their ritual space a living space. It's a living temple. The spirits and the gods live here, and yes, but the temple itself is inanimate. You can't talk to your temple. It doesn't walk around, and so you would ward your temple, you would ward your car, you'd ward your place of business, you'd ward your home. You wouldn't ward yourself. At least I wouldn't say ward yourself. I would say set wards around your home and shield yourself. That's what I would say. So yeah, semantics, but coming from grimoire tradition, coming from ceremonial magic, where semantics is kind of important, where words do matter, and the specific word choices do matter. That's the kind of mindset that I bring to this. So yeah, warding is for inanimate objects, and shielding is for people or living things, so your pets and stuff like that. Rituals or rites. I'm not going to call them rituals because you're not doing too much. So I'm going to call them rites, R-I-T-Es, rites, which is like a mini ritual. But then then that brings up the difference between what's the difference between a rite and a spell. But that gets further deeper into the occult. That's not what this channel is about. So let's talk about the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, and a ritual that I have found to be a lot better. I've been using this ritual since 2014, 2015, when I first started mixing Hellenism into my magic. It's called the Adjuration of Metatron. Not the adoration, the adjuration, to adjure something. So the Adjuration of Metatron and the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram. I'm not going to give you the rituals. They're easily Googleable. Yeah, Googleable is a word, right? I mean, I don't know if it's like an official word, but I can use that, right? Googleable. Yeah, we're going to use it. Googleable. It's easily Googleable, both of these things. The first couple of web matches that you find should bring you exactly what you need. The Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram and the Adjuration of Metatron. Both rituals do not require you to have any tools. I know that that's a big thing within the New Age. You guys are mainly energy, workers, and not so much on physical tools. There will be, I'm going to warn you now, not so much in this video or maybe even in the next few videos, but we are eventually going to get to some rituals that may require you to have some physical tools. It may require you to have a candle or a few candles, or it may require you to have some stones, maybe even a wand or a staff or some feathers, some, maybe incense. We're going to start getting into some stuff where you have to have physical anchors and physical symbols to have certain things happen. But right now, we're going to focus on just the energy movements. So with these two rituals, you don't need anything extra. You don't need any tools. Some rituals or some sources for the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram or the LBRP do state that you need a wand. You do not need a wand. You can use your pointer finger, or if you do want to use a wand, you can simply, a good technique for wands in witchcraft, if you just want a basic technique, I'm not trying to bring you guys into witchcraft. I'm not trying to convert you. But if you do want to get a wand and you do want to use a wand, you don't have to go out and buy one from Etsy. I mean, you sure support, these, the indie artists and stuff like that. But you don't have to go buy one from Etsy. You can go in your backyard, especially if you have, I don't know trees. I'm not good with herbology and herbalism and things like that. So I don't know trees and woods and stuff like that. But the everyday basic trees that everyone has in every yard and everything, if you have like elderwood trees or birch or things like that in your yard or in your home or on your property, that's great, because the types of wood really do make a difference with the sort of energies you're trying to channel with a wand. But a good rule of thumb for your wand, and I'm not flipping anybody off, but use your middle finger here and the elbow. And so from your bottom of the elbow all the way up to the top of the middle finger is a good length for a wand. And then, so if you want a wand, you can do that. You don't need a wand. You can certainly use your pointer finger. If you already have a wand, like a crystal wand or something like that, you can certainly use that. But the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram and the Adjuration of Metatron are excellent rituals or rites for cleansing the space and getting rid of not just residual and negative energies, but I'm like, honestly, if you think that your place is haunted, sage it and then do the LBRP or do the Adjuration of Metatron. The Adjuration of Metatron, unlike the Lesser Banishing Ritual of the Pentagram, which only calls on the 4 archangels of the 4 quarters, the Adjuration calls on 7. If I recall correctly, it's 7. It's 7 angels to basically come through and cleanse the place. So you're talking, there are 4 regular guys that are always there. And I'm not saying that they're weak or anything like that, but I mean, it's cool to have your 4 friends there, but then you got your 3 other friends coming behind them. I mean, come on. So, so there are 7 angels that come through with the Adjuration of Metatron. It's him and all his 6 other friends, and they come through and they cleanse the hell out of the place. I mean, there's not going to be any negative energies after the Adjuration of Metatron or, the Lesser Banishing Ritual. So those are great for cleansing the place of any negative energies. So they're great for right before you do any other protective workings. The Lesser Banishing Ritual and the Adjuration of Metatron are perfect for preliminary, rites, starting things out before you do other protective workings. Those two are, or one of them. They don't got to do both of them. That's kind of like overkill. But if I had to pick one over the other, definitely the Adjuration. All right, so we're coming up to a half hour here. Amulets and talismans. I guess we can go ahead and talk about them. Classically, I mean, if you want to go a little deep with it, classically, amulets and talismans aren't what they are known as today. Classically, a talisman would have to have been made under the correct time frames. You had to do it under the right star, under the right moon phase, under the right star, and when I'm not good with astrology, when the constellations. Why did I forget that? When the constellations are aligned in certain, patterns, that's when you're supposed to create certain, and you're supposed to use certain metals and inscribe them with certain things. That's how talismans were classically made. And amulets were, essentially enchanted items that that were supposed to protect the wearer mainly, but from the evil eye and stuff like that. But they started to grow to, you can use an amulet for love or an amulet for whatever, just like a talisman. But amulets were mainly used for protection. But nowadays, it's they're interchangeable, amulets and talismans. But classically, talismans were for anything. You could have a love talisman, a protection talisman, a health talisman, a money talisman, but they had to be made under they had to be made a specific way under a certain, moon phase and constellations and, seasons and stuff like that. Chris Warnock of Renaissance Astrology is great with that sort of stuff. He's like, I'm sure he's not the only one, but within Grimoire tradition, I don't know, I personally, other than Athena of Enochian.org, but, her specialty is Enochian and Grimoire magic, while his is literally Renaissance Astrology. He has some good stuff on the talismans. And if you're interested to go deep with this, look into the Picatrix, which is the gold standard for astrological magic and workings, which is what talismans were classically built under. Look into the Picatrix, which is an Arabic manuscript and the hallmark of astrological talisman making and timing within ceremonial magic and hermeticism, and actually all of magic. The fact that there is planetary hours, planetary days comes from the Picatrix. There's also an Egyptian. I don't know if I don't know if I should mention it. Well, I guess maybe. See the Egyptian one. I didn't really like. I've studied the Picatrix, so I can. But the Egyptian one I haven't really studied. I've glossed over it, but I'll just say this: there's an Egyptian book I don't know if it's by Ptolemy, but it's attributed to Ptolemy, and it's an Egyptian astrological book, or grimoire. Well, I don't want to call it a grimoire book, that goes over some of that same stuff that the Picatrix goes over. So, but amulets and talismans, any item that you enchant, and you can enchant an item simply by holding the item in between both hands. I like to use both hands because you can literally, when you do this, you can literally feel the energy. You can feel the heat, which is nothing but energy. And what I like to do is I like to get into I don't do anything out of the trance state. Magic happens when you're in an altered state of a consciousness. So simply sitting down and just seeing things, that doesn't really do much. You have to fall into that trance-like state, what E.A. Koetting calls the theta gamma. You have to fall into that trance-like state. You have to fall into the altered state of consciousness. And once I'm in that state, whatever item I'm in my hand, that I have holding in my hand, I will start to focus on an intent, whatever that intent is: love, protection, good fortune, drawing, good luck, and focus it into that object. Now that's a really simplistic thing. Of course, falling into the trance in itself is not, but just saying fall into the trance then focus into it, that's really simplistic. I do usually get more elaborate, being that I am a witch and things like that. I do get more elaborate, and I do full-blown rites and spells to protect things. But a simple thing for the light worker out there could just be to fall into that trance-like state and just hold it in between your two hands and focus. Have an intent in mind and focus that intent into the item. So yeah, guys, I think that's it. I think we're going to go ahead and call the video here. We're at 33 minutes. It was a great video, chock full of information. I gave you guys several actionable techniques here that you guys can utilize to protect yourself and your home and your spaces. This was just a basic primer on some of the protection. We're going to go a little further as the videos go on. I really can't wait to get into the psychic vampirism aspect of everything. I think you guys are really going to like that. and learning about the people who actually are psychic vampires, and learning about their techniques and things that they do to feed off of you and how you can protect yourself against them. These techniques here are great, and we may even reiterate some of them in the psychic vampire video. But yeah, I cannot wait for the psychic vampirism one. That one is going to be epic, guys. So thank you for tuning in. I hope everybody had a happy Halloween, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace and many blessings.